YouTube viewers, Rectangular back with another review. This time we have the Amazing Spider-Man action figure from the MAFEX line made by Medicom. This is a Japanese import, and this is I guess the first in a new line from Medicom. Not familiar with the company. I think in the past they have done miniature figures and 12-inch figures, and I think this is their first delve into 6-inch figures. This is the first of two figures that they've announced. I believe the next one is going to be the movie Batman. So I'm not a huge fan of Spider-Man, but I had been looking for a Fearsome Foe Spider-Man for a long time, and finally found one from my friend Darius, if you'd seen one of my recent haul videos. So I went ahead and pre-ordered this guy when I was still looking, knowing that not a huge fan of the movie or this costume for Spider-Man, but I just couldn't pass up owning such a really well-made figure with all the accessories that he comes with, as you will see here in a moment when I get him out of the package. So anyway, this is the box that he comes in. It's very nice. Got a nice picture of the figure on the side there, and then you've got him in all these dynamic poses that he can do. Very cool. It's, you know, tie-in with the movie. It's got the Columbia Pictures logo on the back there, and another picture of the figure on the side there. So that's pretty much it for the box, and let's go ahead and get him taken out of the packaging so we can get a better look at him. Here we have the figure out of the package with all of his accessories, and as you can see, he comes with quite a lot of stuff. First off, he comes with this really nice stand that has two holes for the arm of the stand to plug into, and it has 3 joints and a clasp to hold him into, and it's really tight. Shouldn't have any problem getting him in all sorts of elevated positions. Then he comes with 2 fists that were on the body in the package, which I've already swapped out, and then he comes with like a regular open hand and then a wide open hand for each arm, and the counterparts are over here for the left and right side. And then he comes with 2 web shooting hands and 2 hands to hold webs if you want to have him in a swinging type pose. Alright, so that's everything. I'm not going to show him with all of the hands, but I will swap out the web shooting hands and show you what the webs look like when those are attached. First, I'm going to move the accessories out of the way, and let's get a closer look at the figure and check out his articulation. Okay, I lied. I wanted to show off the accessories first before I get into the figure. So these are the opposing hands that I have on him right now. That's the open hand, and these are slightly rubbery, but they retain their shape really well. You know, they can bend a little bit, so they're not hard plastic. You don't have to worry about breaking them. Obviously, if you bend it too far back, it would probably it might stay in that position or get a crease in it. But it really makes it easy to get the pegs that they pop onto are hard plastic, and I really like how they did that. That makes it very easy to get the hands on and off. And here's the other open hand for the left side. Very well sculpted. It does have like a texture, so it's not just paint. There is like a like a waffle iron pattern on the red parts and on the blue parts, and these lines are scored. They're raised actually on the sculpt itself, so that's really nice. Really nice attention to detail. And then the web shooting hand. That's posed really well. Kind of like how the thumb is still a little bit curved. It's not straight. Although I guess you could heat it up and bend it down, make it straight if you wanted to. And there's the other one. And then the fists that he... Oh, actually, these are the web holding hands, or accessory holding hands. So there's plenty of room for those the web that he comes with to slide into there. And he does grip it. This one's a little bit loose. This is the smaller one that's a little bit longer. But these are the longer ones that if you want to have him hanging off of, it is still a little loose, but you can hold it pretty well. If you tug on it, it's going to come off, but if you just want to stay in there, it stays in there pretty well. And lastly, just the fists. So I think the sculpt and the paint turned out really well. Not too glossy, very realistic looking. Don't see any paint flaws, details. It's got a nice little black wash, very light, which I think really adds to the detail. Some of them are a little better than others. Okay, now the webbing. It is a flexible material. It's kind of halfway between hard and soft plastic. Don't know a better way to describe it, but it retains its shape really well. I do feel like you could break it if you really cranked hard on it. And it's got this little hook at the end, which you remove the hand and put this on over the peg and then replace the hand over the peg, and I'll show you how that looks once we get into the figure a little bit closer. And it comes with two, so you can do two webs at the same time. And then here's the long one, and I haven't figured out if there's a way to attach all three at the same time to make one really long web, so I don't think that's really feasible. I think it's just more as an effect. Alright, so move this stuff out of the way and you can get a closer look at the stand that he comes with. So here's the base of the stand. Like I said, it's got those three holes. So I can zoom out a little bit. And it's got three joints, so you could get him in pretty much any position you wanted to. And it's nice and stiff. You can see that it takes a little bit of force to move it, and these clamps are really tight too, and I'm sure if they got loose you could just tighten up the screws there as long as you don't over crank it. And I'd just be careful when you're moving it not to use too much force because you could snap it. Alright, let's move on. So here we have a little size comparison. On the left we have the MAFEX Amazing Spider-Man. In the middle we have a Marvel Legends Shield Agent, and on the far right we have the Toy Biz Fearsome Foes Spider-Man. And as you can see, they're very similar in height. I actually think that Spider-Man, the Fearsome Foes Spider-Man, is a tad on the tall side. He's got these really long legs. I don't have another Spider-Man to compare him to, but I believe the Return of Marvel Legends, the Spider-Man that came with the Arnim Zola line, is significantly shorter than this Fearsome Foes one. For measurement, looks like they're all just about 6.5 inches. It's hard to tell if the Spider-Man, the Fearsome Foes, is taller than the Shield Agent. I think the Shield Agent might have him by just a hair, but very similar, and I think works. I think this new Spider-Man works excellent with the in scale with Marvel Legends. Looks like he is just a hair over 6 inches, probably maybe 6.25. So if you're worried about that, I think that this MAFEX Spider-Man is significantly taller than the Revoltech one. I know a lot of people were concerned that this one would be too short. And I think the Revoltech one is, as are most Revoltech figures, are more in 5-inch scale than they are 6. Alright, let's go ahead and move on. Here's the figure by itself, and I think it's really well made. That was the first thing I noticed when I started messing around with it, is it does not feel fragile, like I'm going to break it. It's not. That's one of the impression I get from 3A figures and Revoltech figures. Feels like this could take some abuse. I think it's halfway between those fragile figures and a Hasbro figure. The paint is really well done. I haven't seen any flaws anywhere. All the lines are sculpted on him, and the black lines could be a little bit darker in areas. Other than that, I think that paint job turned out really well. That looks like it's the joint, the foot joint. Picked up some paint, some black or silver paint there, but that's very minor. You can see on this side it just got a tad bit of black, but it's got this very, just like in the movie, got the silver details on the bottom of his feet and on the sides, and that turned out really well. Looks like it picked up just a tiny bit of red there, but otherwise really well done on the paint. I think the sculpt could be a little bit more muscular on the back. I don't know how muscular if they based this on the actor or what they used as a model, but it's kind of just very generic looking back on the back of his legs. And I don't know if that's how the costume looked in the movie. If it was a stunt man who was in there most of the time, I don't know. Otherwise, the lines up the legs look good, all along the back, and then, like I said before, it's all sculpted, so it's not just paint. You can feel the spider on the back is all raised. The black here looks like it's smudged just a bit, and the webs It does have a nice like black wash over most of the figure. And let's see, the head, it looks like it, what they did was they used like a metallic foil that they embedded into the head sculpt, and then they put clear plastic over it. And yeah, I know that's the way he looks in the movie, and it turns out really well. I like the fact that they just didn't slap some gold paint on it. It's really reflective. I don't know if you can see. It looks like he's wearing goggles, which is pretty damn cool. And that's probably my only complaint, is that the head and I don't know how. I've only seen the movie once, so the neck seems a little thick for how narrow the head is. I would have liked that they would have either beefed up the head a little bit wider, or made the neck a little narrower towards the top, or just in general. That's about my only major complaint about the figure. The chest piece is like a soft plastic, almost rubber. So when you want to do the diaphragm, it is really flexible. There's very little impedance on the articulation. It actually works really well. So let's go ahead and get into the articulation. So starting from the head, it's very similar to a Spider-Man Classics figure, but I think they really pulled it off on this, unlike on Toy Biz, and I don't think Hasbro got into that technology. But I'm trying to feel if it's softer plastic. It's pretty solid, but it looks like it's a double ball peg, very similar to a Revoltech figure. So looking down, you can look all the way down, which is really nice. And if we want to show off the ab crunch, oops, just popped him off the peg, which is no problem. There you go, didn't break him. Let's pop that back on. But I mean, look at that. I don't own any SH Figure Arts figures yet. I'm pretty sure they use the same technology, but there's no way you're going to get your Marvel Legend to do that, and you probably can't even get, most Revoltech figures are not that articulated. Usually they're pretty soft or top heavy, or the pegs in them are very fragile, so I'd be really hesitant to do this on a Revoltech figure. At least the two that I have are like that. So the ab crunch, amazing. He does look back very far as well, pretty much straight up, so that's nice. The shoulder joints are really cool. They are basically a ball peg and a ball hinge, so he can move basically his arm back and forward, kind of similar to what they were trying to go for when older Toy Biz figures like the Iron Man Series 1, the first couple series of Iron Man figures like the Silver Centurion. It's got that, instead of having, or actually in the Thing also, instead of having the shoulder move back, it's all contained within the shoulder socket itself, and that works really well. It's got tons of range of motion, both inward, outward, up and down. You can lift his shoulder up if you wanted him to. Obviously the same on the other side. Got a really nice bicep swivel, which goes 360, and double jointed elbows, which the elbow is really well sculpted there. And his bicep is a little bit big, so you can't go completely in, but it's way more than 90 degrees, which is nice. My only complaint is does not have a swivel at the forearm. Only reason that I would have liked to have seen that is that when you want to get him in a web shooting pose, you have to turn the bicep in order for it to line up with his hand. So that's very unnatural. So if you want to keep it natural and you turn it out, you know, his wrist is on a double ball joint, but the web shooter itself, you know, which would be on the inside of his arm, this doesn't rotate to line up with the palm of his hand. So that's the only complaint, only piece of articulation that I would have liked to have seen them add. But when you have the web on, which I'll actually pop on now, trade that out with the other hand, web shooting hand, which we have right here. And you just stick the web on the socket, and actually this will go on the top part, but you can rotate that when you get it on, and it just pops right on like that, and bam, you got him shooting a web. So I'll actually swap that other hand out and get both of those on there. There we go. It's a little hard to see. There. So it's hard to see with the background being white, but you know, if you want to have him shooting two webs simultaneously, that works really well. There you go. Very cool. Alright, let's take those off and get onto the lower half of the articulation, so these aren't fighting me. There we go. Alright, so yeah, the wrists, you know, fully rotate, go in and out pretty far, you know, as far as you need them to go. And I already showed the waist. The top half does swivel all the way around. Looks like a double ball peg there, and a double ball peg at the lower waist. So he does rotate all the way around there as well. And this is very cool technology. Like I said, I don't have any SH Figure Arts or Figma figures, but I believe this is the same technology that they use. So pardon the Spidey crotch. You've got it's basically a ball. It's a hinge on the inside, and then a ball peg on the outside, which goes into its own ball socket, which spins completely separate from the outer thigh. So he can go just crazy all the way up like that, back around, all the way 90 degrees, almost more. But I mean, if you want Spidey to do the splits, no problem. Spidey splits, and then they can rotate in. They can rotate basically 360. Of course, it's going to get stuck and I want to break him right on camera. That would be awesome. There you go. So fully rotate that, and then you can make him get all the way up and down, since it is on a hinge. So you can make tall Spidey if you want, which would look really bizarre. But you know, it's just so that you can have him in all sorts of really dynamic poses. So that is awesome. I love this technology. Hasbro really needs to see if they can borrow some of these ideas. Then it's the only thing that's a little bit distracting here is the metal at the knee joint. You know, it's very solid. I'm glad they went with a metal construction, because you know it won't snap, it won't break as easily. But they could have just slapped a little bit of paint over that, which, you know, any customizer can easily do. I mean, you don't even have to be a customizer really. You just need a nice small paintbrush, and you can get in and cover that up if you're really concerned about it. But very nice stiff joints, and you know, the only thing that you could have done was make this cut a little bit tighter so that he could bring his leg in even more, but that's pretty amazing. Leg articulation there, and you can go all the way back. And this is a little bit soft rubber, so it will flex if you move his leg all the way up, which is nice. So man, this is just the articulation on this thing. I don't own a. This is probably the most articulated figure that I own. Probably if it had that waist, or I'm sorry, wrist swivel, forearm swivel, it would be spectacular. And then again on the ankles, it's a double ball peg there, so completely rotates, goes very steep angle that way, very steep angle that way. I mean, you can get him on tippy toes if you wanted to. Michael Jackson Spider-Man. Then he's got a really nice toe articulation there. Very cool. No, guess it doesn't really shift side to side too much. I mean, it is on a peg. Actually, you can rotate the peg. So yeah, you do have ankle pivot. What am I saying? It's like beyond, way beyond ankle pivot. So because it's on a ball peg, it can go, you know, really tight like that. Let's see if I can do it on this side. There we go. So man, you could really get him flat if you wanted to. Alright, so I think that does it for the articulation. Alright, hopefully you guys liked the video. Please share with your friends, leave a comment below, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Okay, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.